Welcome everyone, today I have an updated video for the current build for my Necromancer for last Epoch. Now looking behind me, this is against the testing dummy and you can see my minions at work doing some pretty nice damage. I am currently level 85 and I have cleared the corruption 100 plus. So firstly, let's have a look at some of the gameplay demonstrations of corruption 100 plus and also how the build works. Of course, I'll go through the entire setup with you guys, including summoning your minions, adjusting for your idols, which is a little cool trick, and also entire mapping, and also, the build at its current level. I think the build is at a good level. I am farming constantly corruption 100, which is great for the mid level of the end game, and there is tons of potential for the build to be expanding into the later game with better gears, legendary crafting, and also legendary potential, and also better stats. So the build itself is quite self-sufficient. You are automatically summoning zombies and you are sacrificing the skeleton warriors that are summoned to gain a lot of mana, a lot more energy shield, or actually ward on this regards, and this will help to boost our survivability. We have Blink to be traveling around, and I have opted for more minion damage at the moment over utility with Blink. You can still Blink, but we do deal even higher damage with your skeleton mages. We do have the Dread Shade that buffs the entire team with narcotic damage, and later you're gonna see I have stacked over 1000% narcotic damage together with 33% minion penetration for narcotic damage. Our damage is quite sizable in a Corruption 100. Now, I do believe the build can push to 300 quite easily. To go beyond that, we do need some good gears or maybe some adjustment to balance between survivability and also damage. And you can see against the boss, my entire minion still lag behind, and once they arrive and once I blink on the boss, it dies pretty quickly. So that was a mapping demonstration. What I want to show you guys is, this is a demonstration of AFK farming in the arena. So this is quite fun mechanics that I discovered that works really well with a minion summoner build. As you guys expected, you can stand without moving, just holding down one button with your skeleton warrior. But guess what? As I'm summoning my units, I realize I probably don't have to press my buttons. So here's a demonstration of hands-free, not pressing any buttons, and you can see my minions are just automatically killing from wave 7 to wave 11. You are gaining additional warding and also mana as your minion dies, and because it auto loops between the zombies and the skeleton Vanguard, you are constantly gaining bit ward together with your unique item of choices. So here I'm not pressing anything. You can see I'm still gaining ward, still becoming more survivable, and I can kind of AFK clear some of those arena content quite consistently to give my hands and also myself a stretch, which is not bad. Now, moving forward a little bit to update you guys through the boss setup. So nothing changed with the boss, and this is quite straightforward. You get all your minions summoned, and once the boss comes out, well, this is the first demonstration of the boss. You can see that we do pretty hefty damage at corruption level 100. And yes, my gears are not perfect. They're still the early mid-game gears. I did find an upgrade, which I share with you guys. And here is a demonstration of the Ouroboros boss in the Echo. So coming over to another boss. Again, another corruption 100 boss, and here is the Corpse Dragon. Now, against the Corpse Dragon, it is a little annoying because the AoE have the potential to kill my minion, notice over here, which I'll go through with you guys to the skill rotations. After my minion was killed, I then resummoned my Flame Wrath, and then my damage is back. You can see that after taking down the boss's shield, it dies pretty rapidly. And I do feel like our damage can be even higher should I get some legendary potential gears, especially some better stacking of minion damage together with more flat stats. Nevertheless, I was able to take down the dragon, and then finally we do have a Harbinger to show you guys the extended ability to take down bosses. I wouldn't say this is gonna be the strongest boss slayer, but it is all rounded. You can speed farming using Blink, you can pretty consistently taking down bosses at the current stage, and the survivability is pretty good. I'm constantly on 4000 plus warding, and should I lose a bit of warding, I can gain them quite quickly as I resummon my minions. So survivability, speed farming, and also boss slaying in the current corruption up to 300 is pretty much set. And here is the demonstration. So again, what I do is I'll showcase the entire setup and also how it plays in the mapping, how it plays with variety of different bosses, and also, of course, go through the gears with you guys. So if you want to see those replays, see at the end of the video. Now, coming over to my character, and let's get out of the demonstration, you can see that we do some pretty hefty damage, especially with some crits. I can say about 100 to 200,000 pops, but this is against the dummies, which have less resistance and not the right types of monsters. So in actual fights, I do a little less damage, but that's not a big deal. Now, over here, I have updated my builder's guide, and you guys might have noticed we have had some changes. One of the biggest change is over here with adjusting to this build, which I have to be level 82 to use this build for more survivability, so my damage can be even higher. To show you guys some of the numbers over here, let's come over here and I'll scroll down. It's the same over here, so maybe I can come over here. So if I show you guys the stats over here, you can see that my minion necrotic damage is 1055% with 33% minion necrotic damage penetration. And probably easier over here. So if you guys want the exact rundown of the build, including passives, skills, and also everything, make sure you check out the previous video, which is pretty much the part 1 of this particular guide. The second guide over here we'll look at is what are the changes and what are the updates. So let's briefly go through things, but again, the previous video would have explained things more in details. So summoning skeletons are here to be sacrificed because you summon multiple skeletons, and as the skeletons dies, you'll be gaining additional warding and also gaining additional mana, which solves our mana sustain problem. The skeleton mages are here to sacrifice the skeleton warriors, and this triggers multiple chain reaction of a build. We have more skeleton mages, more flat damage for the mages, and also even higher critical multiplier, and I have taken away the 3 points over here, opting for more damage in the later game. Over here, we are using the Summoning Wrath as the main source of damage, hence the stacking of additional ranks to Summoning Wrath on the chest piece, as I will go through with you guys. We are permanently summoning them using the Flame Wrath over here, and we do want 2 Flame Wrath. We're getting a flat damage, we're getting additional damage, and here we're getting additional critical multipliers together with even stronger multipliers. The zombies over here are automatically recycled because of the 2 unique rings, and over here you can see that they have a chance of casting as minions dies, which completes the loop. The zombies also deal necrotic damage, which is what we scale for most of the combos. The core concept of the build is to have 2 of those rings, and then we keep recycled zombies, and then we keep summoning skeleton warriors, and those get killed by the skeleton mages, and then you gain tons of warding, mana, and also zombie resummon automatically. And of course, if we come over to the passives, you can see that I have opted for a few points additional over here for more necrotic damage and also higher chance of damned. And here I have perked out for a lot of flat minion necrotic damage together with necrotic amplifier as to summoning additional skeletons, skeleton mages for even higher damage. And here we do have additional summons of Vanguard, which help us recycle the minions. So of course you can see the links below for the latest update. In terms of the gears, previously I was using a build that helps me with haste for 30% movement speed, but later stage in the game, to become more consistent and also to avoid dying, I decided to go with this build for now before we turn this one into a legendary, simply because this build will help me to gain additional warding. There are a number of ways of getting warding. I can be summoning my skeleton warriors and everything, and also my helmet helps me to gain more warding, scaling with more necrotic resistance, which is great for later game scaling. So to show you guys over here, if you can see my minions as they die, I gain more warding, right? So if I pop the potion, you can also see I'm gaining warding as I pop the potion. And this helps because most of my defensiveness are coming from warding with potions. Together with the ability to summon my minions as my skeleton mages kill the minions, you can see that my warding quickly rank up from 2000 to 3000 and consistently we stay around 4000 in combat. And should you take some damage, it goes down a little bit, but I can quickly get this one to 5000 or even higher. As more things dies, as they get summoned, you gain tons of mana and this repeats, which is great for survivability and also bonus damage. So opting for survivability over here, and the plan is to get this one to be legendary crafter for the tier 6 or tier 7 with the minion damage if we can for the belt. In terms of the rest gears, I haven't changed much. I haven't gotten any legendary gears, and you can see all the gears except this one was pretty much waived by itself with random chances. Now, one big update for my build, which is great, is that I have purchased this particular one-handed axe with tier 6 flat minion damage and crafted the tier 5 minion spells and also bow damage. This is a great damage amplifier for the build, and this one-handed axe also provides us with about 100 plus minion narcotic damage with implicit as well. The offhand over here can also give us some great minion damage, and over here the future goal for the build is to craft the amulet, the helmet, and also to get upgraded versions of the boots and also the gloves. In terms of the chest piece, I will be looking for a chest piece, and I have found a chest piece. So this is actually quite interesting. Before the making of this video, I was checking for item updates, and I was able to buy this chest piece from the Merchant Guild. And guess how much I paid for it? So I paid 1,500 gold. This is definitely a surprisingly good bargain because in the market, I did not have 1 million gold. People were selling those +4 for 1 million gold. So a small tip of advice, if you're looking for those items, and as you can see over here, most of my items were purchased in the Merchant Guild, I have always been regularly checking the Merchant Guild for chances of a bargain. Usually you don't get this massive a bargain, maybe people selling 10, 20 or 50 or 100,000 gold cheaper, but this one is a pretty big bargain, so you should be checking for in-game gears regularly as you filter them. And if you come back to the browser to check for the gear, cost and also check for gear filterings, your previous filter will stay as long as you are staying in the game, as long as you don't exit the game. Saves you time doing the new filters. So yes, just before making this video, I was able to purchase this one, and this will definitely be a benefit for the build. On the topic of purchasing for additional stats, you can see all of my idols are tailored towards additional minion narcotic damage together with minion narcotic penetration. This is more of a glass cannon setup. Should I want to be more defensive, I can then come over to scale towards additional narcotic resistance or additional warding, and this will help you to become more resistant. And I do have 2 of the class idols which are scaling with the waivers for plus minion spell damage and also casting speed whenever I can find them. This one's pretty good. This one has +7 over here, and this one is a little unfortunate. It only has +3, but it's a good point to get started. And yes, I did buy all of those idols for about 20 to 30 or 50,000 gold, and some of those were about 60,000 gold at the previous day of the game. The prices has went up. In terms of blessings, you're looking for any resistance you can get, and you're looking for minion damage, of course, and then in order to get even better stats, you can look for narcotic resistance over here, or you can look for critical chance avoidance to not get one-shotted. And that is the update of the current setup. Now, I do want to go through with you guys some of the additional tips and also mechanics over here. So, one thing is, we had some questions about updating this build into the Worthlord. I am in the process of working on the Worthlord build for the Necromancer for this current patch. And once this is ready, I'll update to you guys to see its potential. On the second part, what I want to showcase to you guys is, you can see at the start of the fight, I am showing you what I do at the start. I have purposely swapped the idols so I can be summoning my 2 flame worth quickly and then putting the idols back. So this way, if you look over here, in my inventory there's an idol that boosts the chances of summoning flame worth. You can keep this idol in your idol selection as well, there's nothing wrong with it, but I opt for more damage. So in order to make sure I get it in, I move the spots, I put this in, so this gives me the higher chance of summoning 2 flame worth at once consecutively. Then I'll buff one of the minions with the Dread Shade, and then I'll put those back, so this effectively gives me more minion narcotic damage and also all the bonus damages. If you were to keep this one, it's not bad, but at the same time, you don't really need it once you permanently have the 2 flame worth. The only time you kind of want this is in much later stage of the game, and you can see I haven't scaled too much with minion health, so my minions are still vulnerable of dying, especially with Dread Shade. When Dread Shade is on a minion, this minion takes increasing damage. And because of this, this additional buffer minion can die quite easily in later stage of the fight. And when this one dies, and if I'm trying to resummon, sometimes I don't get the flame worth, and this gets a little annoying, you can see, without the idol. And this actually happens during some of the fights if the boss actually one-shots some of my worth, and it's hard to swap the idols during that. So you can see over here that during the fight, this is how I start summoning, and then this is how I start mapping. In terms of mapping, it is actually very straightforward. The build is designed for you to rush through content. You don't really have to summon your skeletons, you can just run around or you can blink around, and that's everything you want to do. And should you want to stop, pick up items, and also summon your skeleton warriors, you'll gain more damage and also more ward. And that is pretty much it. You're blinking around, running around, and having some pretty decent mobility, especially with the ability to blink. This allows you to speed farming anywhere from 100 corruption to 300 quite easily. Now, fast forwarding against the boss. Our goal is to take down the boss as quickly as we can before the boss takes down our minions, because then we have to resummon them. The only minion we have to resummon are the worth, and the skeleton mages, you resummon them pretty much as you blink around, which is not a problem. And you can see with the weaker bosses, it's pretty simple. Now, I do want to highlight over here, this is against the corpse dragon. And you can see when the dragon actually AoEs, and I'm gonna come over here a little bit. So against the dragon, when the dragon AoEs, I will try to pull my character out of the AoE range, but my minions, I didn't commit them with minion AI. And because of this, notice the buffing worth was one-shotted because it takes increasing damage, and now I only have one worth. And then I quickly try to resummon another one, and after resummoning another one, I try to buff the previous one, and this maintains our damage. So always check you have 2 worth available, and you're always having the buff of the Dread Shade. So this is the final tip for the setup. The only thing that you might have a little trouble is the bosses may be able to one-shot the minion with the Dread Shade. In this case, you just resummon your worth, and then you cast your Dread Shade again onto the worth or onto the skeleton mages. Don't cast those onto the skeleton warriors, because they will die much quickly. And other than that, this is the whole setup. And you can see I've done this a few times during the boss fight, simply because the minion that has the Dread Shade is more vulnerable because of its debuff. So that should summarize the latest update for this build. I'll be farming around 100 to 300 corruption using this build, while working on other builds and also learning other class builds and looking into what else I want to try in this season. And of course, I'll be looking into the Worth Lord build, because this is a great extension for my current minion Worth build. So stay tuned for the other updates, and here I'll showcase the entire replay for you guys to have a look. And yes, we are looking into Paladins as well, because Paladins looks pretty popular for this particular season. Now, hopefully you guys found today's video helpful. Again, a big thank you to everyone on YouTube, especially our supporters, and also those of you guys who's been supporting me on Patreon as well. And we do have a new feature on the Mattjestic YouTube channel. If you click onto this, you can become a member. Yes, I've added this just recently, and this will allow you to have early access to videos that is posted a few hours or even half a day earlier if you want to watch those videos a little early. But yes, this will cost money. So please be aware the membership will cost money. And if you do want to watch videos normally, those videos will still be available after 6 to 12 hours, normally on the time we post those videos. And I'll be aiming to post at least one Path of Exile video a day, and this will be including guides, tips, news update, and also the latest tricks that is discovered on both the English and also Chinese community to keep you guys updated. And if you like those videos, make sure you leave a nice comment and also leave a like for those videos. Now, before we finish, if you guys enjoy those last Epoch guides, builds, and also tips, make sure you subscribe for more builds and also guides to come. And all of the notes will be available in the links below. I have collected tons of notes for last Epoch as we make more guides, and links will be available for you guys to have a look and also, just to read up on the things we talk about in the video. So yes, please subscribe and also stay tuned for a lot more last Epoch content. And if you guys have any tips, any advice on the game, I'm still quite new to the game, so feel free to let me know in the game or in Discord so we can be learning together with you guys with more experience.